Welcome to the fourth installment of Deep Dive into Maesters' Deception. Previously, we exposed Archmaester Gyldayn's skewed history favoring House Hightower and discrediting Daemon. We also explored Laenor's rumored romances, including Ser Joffrey Lonmouth and Correy, in complex web of love and power. This episode shifts to Laenor's secretive life, spotlighting his bond with Marilda against the power of nobility. Finally, there's this woman, Marilda. We first met her in Hull during the Red Sowing event back in 129 AC. Her boys, Adam and Alan, were part of the whole Red Sowing event, and Adam even snagged Sea Smoke, Laenor's dragon mount. Now, before this Red Sowing business, nobody really talked about Marilda. But when they did, turns out she was supposed to be some pretty young daughter of a shipwright, which sounds kinda strange. Marilda was probably in her early 30s, not exactly what you'd call young anymore during the Red Sowing. I've got a hunch that Gyldayn intentionally held off on introducing Marilda until later in the story. Maybe he didn't want folks connecting the dots too soon, you know? Like, he didn't want us to think Laenor is not gay. With Marilda in mind, let's delve into the life of Laenor Velaryon. Born in 94 AC, the same year Viserys' dragon Mount Velaryon passed away. Laenor was introduced alongside her sister, Lena. Oddly enough, there's no mention of Laenor's physical features. Gyldayn provides details for everyone else. Why not for Laenor? When Gyldayn writes about the succession dispute between Baelon and Rhaenys, Laenor's name comes up during the Council of 101 AC as one of the claimants for the Iron Throne at age 7 or 8. The votes were never revealed. After that, Laenor disappears until 112 AC when Gyldayn talks about selecting a consort for Princess Rhaenyra. Laenor is 19 years old at this point. Matilda should be around 15 or 16. After Laenor was introduced in 112 AC, Gyldayn talks about one objection, without specifying who raised it. It could be anyone, but my guess is it's Alicent and Otto spreading the rumor. The objection is that Laenor had never shown interest in women and surrounded himself with handsome squires of his own age. This objection is pretty silly. In the Song of Ice and Fire series and Dunk and Egg novels, all sorts of folks, noblemen, men-at-arms, sailors, traders, guardsmen, knights, squires, men of the Night's Watch, maesters of the Citadel, septons and septas of the Faith of the Seven, silent sisters, etc., hang out with same-sex companions. Singers are the exception, mostly surrounded by women. Gyldayn is just spinning a tale here. Being around people of the same gender doesn't automatically make someone gay, but that's what Gyldayn is trying to make us believe. And about Laenor not showing interest in women, in Westeros, chastity is valued, and men are expected to be chaste before marriage. Gyldayn even calls Criston a true knight and chaste. In the main series, Balon Swan didn't show interest in women either, but somehow, when Laenor does it, Gyldayn assumes he's gay. Laenor has his reasons for not showing interest in other women. We get to know more about Laenor after his marriage to Rhaenyra, but before that, he probably loved Marilda, just like Ned loved Ashera before Catelyn. Gyldayn himself admits that Laenor visits the shipyard of Hull from time to time. That Adam and Alan were dragon seed no man who looked upon them could doubt, but their mother steadfastly refused to name their father. Only when Prince Jacaerys put out the call for new dragon riders did Marilda, at last, break her silence, claiming both boys were the natural sons of the late Ser Laenor Velaryon. They had his look, it was true, and Ser Laenor had been known to visit the shipyard in Hull from time to time. Now, on a side note, Gyldayn's comment about Prince Jace recruiting new dragon riders is kinda weird. What's the deal, trying to yank Adam away from Sea Smoke? That's a first, and it just turns Adam into an enemy. Even worse, he'll be an enemy with a dragon. Laenor, the dragon rider, has no business hanging out at a shipyard. And what if Laenor's dragon mount, Sea Smoke, already knew Adam? Those occasional visits Laenor made to the shipyard were probably just him taking his kid for a spin on Dragonback. In the world of ice and fire, bastards often get a bit envious of their legit siblings. So, picture this. Adam as a kid, dreaming of a dragon, and Laenor comforting him with dragon rides during those visits. Not too hard to imagine. Even after saying Laenor checked out the shipyard of Hull, Gyldayn adds that folks on the Rhaenyra side were kinda skeptical. Nonetheless, many on Dragonstone and Driftmark were skeptical of Marilda's claim, for Laenor Velaryon's disinterest in women was well remembered. None dared name her liar, however, for it was Laenor's own father, Lord Corlys himself, who brought the boys to Prince Jacaerys for the sewing, but later says they held their tongue. Many and more at Queen Rhaenyra's court must surely have suspected the same. If so, they held their tongues. If they kept quiet, how does Gyldayn know they doubted Marilda's story? Gyldayn is just making stuff up again. In 114 AC, Laenor tied the knot with Rhaenyra. But here's where Gyldayn messes with the timeline to throw folks off. Gyldayn kicks it off with a statement that Rhaenyra set sail to Driftmark on the Sea Snake, Roland with Harwin Strong. Then he throws in that Rhaenyra took Laenor as her husband. Hold up, isn't the wedding supposed to go down in the bride's home? Then, after the I-do's, there's a week-long bash with feast and jousting, where Criston goes and messes up Joffrey really bad. Joffrey bites the dust 6 days later. Laenor's all teary-eyed during this time, and then, out of nowhere, he bolts for Driftmark. Wait, weren't they already there? And get this, Gyldayn throws in a curveball, saying maybe the marriage wasn't sealed with a, intimate moment. Meanwhile, Rhaenyra stays back, hitting up feasts and balls with Harwin, who's sporting a busted collarbone. What a wild ride. Gyldayn's really playing dirty and messing with the facts here. This video is getting long. In the next video, we will talk about the real sequence of events happened around Laenor's and Rhaenyra's wedding.